Hello, good morning, welcome. This is our third Wednesday of the month, 11 a.m. weight management class. My name is Melissa. I'm HealthAware's registered dietitian and personal trainer. Welcome, I'm so glad you're here, whether you're watching live or the recorded version later on, as I know a lot of you like to do. Today, we are in the month of February still, so that means we are still in American Heart Month. So our class today, our focus is weight management, but we are talking about weight management for a healthy heart. I guess we'll get started. I've got my notes here to look at to keep me on track. And I've got something to put up towards the screen as we get there. So let's get started. Please let me know if you have any questions, any comments. During class, I can see those as they pop up on my screen, or if it's after class, I can also see those too in the when you type in something during the recorded version. So let's do it. So weight management for a healthy heart. Achieving and maintaining a healthy weight is one of the best things that you can do for your heart. Being overweight or obese increases the risk of several heart-related conditions, such as high blood pressure, high cholesterol levels, and coronary heart disease. Additionally, being overweight or obese can increase the risk of numerous other health conditions, including increased mortality, so meaning more likelihood that you will pass away, type 2 diabetes, stroke, osteoarthritis, sleep apnea, and other breathing problems, some types of cancers even, and mental illnesses such as depression and anxiety. So as you can see, weight management can really make an impact on your heart health as well as your general health. So first of all, how do you know if you are overweight or obese? So body mass index, or BMI as it's often referred to, is one tool of many that we can use to assess body weight. BMI is calculated using your height and your weight, so it's a very limited tool, only using height and weight to assess. There are other things we can look at, like your percentage of body fat or your waist to hip ratio, things like that, to determine your overweight or obeseness, if you will. So this, hopefully you'll be able to read that. Ooh, the reflection is really awful. Let me just hold up the piece of paper. So the National Institutes of Health, or the NIH, classifies BMI ranges as follows. There you go. I think you can read that. Underweight is less than 18.5. A lot of Americans do not fall into that category. Normal weight is 18.6 to 24.9, and then overweight begins at 25 and goes up to 29.9. Grade 1 or class 1 obesity is 30 to 34.9, and then grade 2 or class 2 obesity is 35 to 39.5. And then once you get to a BMI of 40 or above, that is grade 3 obesity, or they used to call it extreme obesity. I think they changed it to extremely obese, but that's the highest level of obesity. There's nothing higher above that. 40 and above, everything is just classified into that range. So that is a rough guide for health, if you will. Muscular men or women, like bodybuilders, for example, may actually have a BMI that's in that overweight category, but they're not truly overweight because such a huge percentage of their weight is from muscle weight. So their actual percentage of body fat, so the percent of weight that they carry from body fat is very low, but they still are into that overweight BMI based on just their weight versus their height. So it is not the perfect system, BMI. That's why we have other ways to measure if you are an overweight or obese individual. So the goal is to achieve a weight that is healthiest for you. So not everyone needs to have a BMI in the normal range. So like I just said, if you have tons of muscle on you, or you don't have to be at that perfect center of the range even. It is possible to be fit and healthy at a heavier weight than right in that little BMI range. However, overweight or obese individuals, especially those with risk factors for heart disease, such as high cholesterol, high blood pressure, or high blood glucose, so high blood sugar, those individuals will benefit from even a small amount of weight loss. Preventing further weight gain is an important place to start. If you're unsure what BMI category you fall into, or if you're overweight or obese, or if you even need to lose weight, we at the HealthAware office are happy to schedule an appointment to have you come in and see us. We have a body composition machine that tests not only your weight, but your body composition. So the muscle mass, your muscle weight that you carry, as well as your body fat weight, the percentage of body fat that you have, as well as then your BMI. It can be very helpful to determine what category you're in, and then what weight management goals we should establish for you based on your individual results. So what are some keys to a healthy weight? I believe I have 3 different sections. Yes, I have 3 different sections that are some keys to a healthy weight. The best way to achieve a healthy weight is not by following a short-term diet or program. Instead, focusing on permanent positive changes that promote lifelong health and well-being is ideal. I am doing a February weight loss challenge this month for individuals that signed up within the HealthAware office, but the recommendations that I give are not short-term quick fix diet plans. We want to promote healthy habit creating over a long amount of time, over your lifetime, that you can establish and keep going. We don't want crash diets or wild workout programs meant for only a short amount of time. Yes, the weight loss challenge is only for the month of February, but it's trying to teach some healthy habits of the right way to eat for your body, for maintaining or losing weight, and establishing a regular exercise routine. It's really important for the participants that are in our weight loss program and anyone else to really learn and create groundwork that can be useful for the rest of your life for a healthy lifestyle. Not a short-term thing that you can do to quickly lose weight and then gain all your weight back once you stop doing that crash diet or program. All right, now let's talk about those 3 keys to a healthy weight. So number 1, eat well. There's a lot of stuff within this category, of course, but eating well is the overall theme of one of the first keys to weight management. First of all, just a few tips within this eat well section. So don't skip meals. I will say there's an asterisk to that, but for a lot of people, skipping meals, say, I need to lose weight, I just won't eat breakfast today. And then you end up overeating later on, okay? Weight loss efforts are most successful when meals and snacks are small and spread out throughout the day. The exception to this would be intermittent fasting, which is definitely not for everyone. It can be a very useful tool though for some people who need the parameters of time to help them manage their intake. Again, it is not for everyone, especially if you have perhaps exercise routine set up where you're exercising first thing in the morning. It can be really hard to get a full workout when you haven't had anything to eat. So for the general population, just in general, trying to have your meals and snacks equally spread throughout the day and smaller portions spread throughout the day. Next tip within this is to eat balanced meals. So choose a variety of foods, and it is important for good health, and so is controlling portion sizes, of course. Try serving the foods on your plate with a few of these additional tips in mind. So kind of like the My Plate method, fill 1/4 of your plate with lean protein. So if you divided your plate into quarters, you would fill 1/4 of it with your lean proteins. And it would be approximately the size of your palm or a deck of cards, kind of in that size realm, okay? Lean protein sources. So we're talking about beans, lentils, tofu. Those are plant-based options, or egg whites, fish, and skinless poultry would be more in the meat realm of lean proteins. Then when we have your plate, fill another quarter, so this quarter, the other quarter, fill that with healthy carbohydrates. So whole grains like brown rice, quinoa, whole wheat pasta, sweet potatoes, those whole healthy carbohydrate or starch sources. And then looking back at our plate diagram again, then the other entire half of your plate should be filled with non-starchy vegetables. So anything except for peas, potatoes, and corn. Those are starchy vegetables. So the half of your plate should be anything besides those. Those starchy vegetables would count as your carbohydrate, your quarter of carbohydrates. Those would be in there. So the other half of your plate is going to be every other type of vegetable, whether it's salad greens, tomatoes, cucumbers, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, whatever it is, those would be filling half of your plate. If you desire, you could also have a small portion of fruit or a cup of low-fat or non-fat yogurt or milk on the side, one single serving of that as well. All right, more within this eating well section is limit foods that are high in fat, primarily saturated fat, especially for heart health, low in saturated fat. Fat is denser in calories than protein and carbohydrates are. What that means is that there are more calories in a small amount in the fats. So for example, I don't have a physical example, but use your imagination with me. If you had 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, that's approximately the size of a thumb. 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, okay? It's about 90 calories in that 1 tablespoon of peanut butter. You could eat an entire apple, about the size of my fist, for the same amount of calories. So it's no wonder that we can get overweight, we can have a harder time managing our weight when we're eating a lot of fat because it's so small, and so we fill up with way more calories volume-wise. I hope that made sense. All right, so the CDC recommends, back to the saturated fat within this, the CDC recommends keeping your saturated fat to less than 7% of your total daily calories. What that means, as an example, if you were to eat 2,000 calories in a day, you would want to keep your saturated fat intake to less than 13 grams, okay? Off the top of my head, I cannot remember the exact amounts in certain foods, but I want to say a tablespoon of coconut oil, for example, would be at least that amount. Around that amount. Butter, things like that, okay? So it can be very easy to get that amount, 13 grams of saturated fat, if you're eating a lot of animal-based things. So saturated fat primarily comes from animal-based foods, meats, poultry skin, egg yolks, whole milk, dairy products, so milk, yogurt, cheeses, as well as butter. And then within the plant-based realm, coconut oil and palm oil, those tropical oils, also contain saturated fat. They are slightly different format chemically of saturated fat, so they react a little bit different in their body. But the bottom line is that they have a whole bunch of calories for a small amount. And as far as heart health goes, any type of saturated fat can raise your cholesterol levels, the bad cholesterol levels, and that's not something we want for heart health. All right. Next part within this Eat Well section is to choose lean meats. Related to the saturated fat tip is to trim off visible fat from meats, and remove skin from poultry before eating. So that helps reduce the saturated fat as well as the total calories. Next is to use lower fat cooking methods when you're doing any type of cooking, whether it's with meat, proteins, vegetables, or meat, carbs, or vegetables. Cooking methods that don't use as much fat, so baking, broiling, roasting, stewing, steaming, those can all be done, or grilling, if you're not putting oil on it. Those can all be done relatively low fat. You don't need to add a bunch of oil onto those types of cooking methods. So avoid frying foods if at all possible. You're just adding extra calories with the oils. That is not helpful for weight management. Eat less added sugars. So we get a lot of added sugars in our food these days, and those types of added sugars are not fruit or dairy. Those are natural sugars. However, the sugar that they add into your dairy, like a yogurt, for example, if you have a regular Yoplait red container yogurt, that has tons of sugar added into it. It has some natural sugar from the dairy itself, but they add a whole bunch of other sugar in there to flavor it up. Other types of added sugar would be regular table sugar or white granulated sugar, honey, maple syrup, any kinds of sweets, cookies, cakes, pies, donuts, pastries, all that dessert, even our chocolate often, mostly, has sugar added into it as well. And then finally, avoid high-calorie beverages like sodas, fruit juices, blended coffee drinks, and alcohol. It is my preference to chew my calories rather than to drink my calories. In general, I find that chewing calories is a lot more satisfying than drinking the calories. So I typically recommend that to people as well. It is very easy to drink a high amount of calories and not really feel like you've gotten in very many calories. I know that a few people have told me that in recent history. All right. The second key to having a healthy weight is to be active and exercise. Try making exercise a daily habit. I know that we are all very, very busy. We all are given 24 hours in each day, and it's up to us to figure out what we want to do with those 24 hours. Yes, we must sleep. Yes, we must work or go to school. But some of that other free time, try to fit some exercise in there. If possible, aim for at least 30 minutes of moderate intensity cardio activity, such as brisk walking or jogging or bike riding or aerobics on most days of the week. So at least 5 days a week, 30 minutes, okay? If your goal is to lose weight, you actually may benefit from more exercise. So 60 to 90 minutes a day, or at least 5 days a week. People don't like hearing that, but it's true. If you want to lose weight, you will be more successful if you are exercising more, okay? Don't set the bar too high though when you're first starting out. When you're just getting started, start slowly and gradually increase your daily activity level with exercise. Not like it should take you a month to go from 0 minutes to 30 minutes a day, okay? A little quicker pace than that, but don't try going out and walking for an hour if you never walk at all. So some tips for increasing your activity levels would be limit the use of TV, computer, phone, or other screen devices. Those tend to suck our minds and suck our time. So less of those means more time for activity. Schedule in family exercise or with your spouse, your kids. Get an exercise video or equipment to use at home. That's very, very popular these days, of course, with COVID. Getting exercise equipment at home or subscribing to a streaming service that does exercise classes you enjoy. I was actually just at Target within the last week. Might have been on Friday, Sunday. I was just at Target within the last 7 days, and they had restocked all of their exercise equipment. So there were tons of dumbbells, of handheld weights. So don't be discouraged if you go once and there's no equipment at a store. Try again, keep trying. Get your own equipment at home so you have everything available to yourself so that you don't have that as an excuse. All right, more tips for increasing activity is to walk your dog. That's something easy that a lot of people can do. Your dog needs to be walked, and so do you. Do errands by foot or by bike if you can, if you're close enough to some places, doing things on your bike or by foot. Take the stairs instead of the elevator if you're in a building, like if you work at a hospital, taking the stairs rather than that elevator. It's not a lot at each time, but over time, throughout the day, it can add up to some extra calories burned. Park farther away from a store or get off the bus a stop or two early and then walk further into your store or whatever errand you're running. Join a walking group. I don't know if there's as many of those these days, but walking groups, I know that we used to have one. Walking groups, aerobics class, sports teams, local pool, gym, community center, any of those group activities that are safe within the COVID guidelines. Those group activities can be more motivating for people. So whether it's an outdoor, I know outdoor Zumba class happens near our office several times a week. I see it out there. So a group activity class like that can be very helpful for people to stay motivated and increase their activity level. So motivation, I just said, that is also a factor with activity level. So we must find ways to stay motivated. Here's a few tips on that. Choose a variety of activities to keep your workouts interesting. So if you're always doing the same thing, it can get very, very boring. So having a variety of things that you like to do, if you're gonna go for a walk one day, and then a strength training exercise class the next day, and then a Zumba class the next day, and then swimming the day after that. Different activities can be very helpful for staying motivated, keeping things fresh and interesting. It's also good for your body to do different types of exercises because our bodies become very efficient if we're doing the same exercise every day. All right, set realistic goals for yourself and at a reasonable pace. It's very difficult to stay motivated if you're always failing at your goals. Plan exercise into your weekly schedule. I've said this before, but make an appointment with yourself to do your exercise. Write it down on your calendar, program it into your phone, wherever you need. Set that into your calendar and make that commitment. Also, finding an exercise buddy can be very helpful. You can rely on each other for support. If your friend is going for a walk, it's a lot harder to say no to your friend than it is to say no to yourself. We can talk ourselves out of exercise very easily, but if you've got a buddy that's doing it with you, it's easier to stay on track. Keep an exercise log. Some people find that writing down their exercises helps them stay focused and find patterns within their activity, or to realize that you're not exercising enough as much as you thought you were. And finally, set a non-food reward for your progress when you meet your goals. So no food, it's not cake or donuts or cinnamon rolls. Think something else, whether it's a pedicure or a massage or buying yourself a new candle, something like that that keeps you motivated to get to your goal, but not food related. Okay, our third and final key in weight management for heart health. All right, so be aware and plan ahead. At home, eat only when you're sitting down at the table and stay out of the kitchen unless you are preparing food. All right, a lot of us are working at home much more these days than we used to, and so food is widely available and it's very easy to just wander through the kitchen, breeze by and grab something without even thinking about it. Just the access to the kitchen makes it much more difficult to manage our eating and then our weight. And yes, eat while you're sitting down. Make an intentional practice to make mealtime a sitting down experience so you're actually much more involved in the eating process, much more mindful about what you're doing. All right, keep tempting foods out of sight and make healthy snacks available, such as raw vegetables or pieces of fruit. Hiding your food or just getting it out of the house, those tempting foods can be, it sounds silly, but it can be very helpful. You can put stuff in a bag and put it in your car, and that can make the decision, the whole process of getting to those tempting foods is just a completely different process of thinking and action rather than just having it right there on your counter available for you. I know, it sounds silly, but it can be helpful. Use smaller plates, bowls, and cups when you're eating. This can also be a great strategy. So if you're using a very big dinner plate, like 10 to 12 inch dinner plate, number one, you can have your portion sizes too big, or if you're trying to keep your portion sizes managed, having those foods on a big plate can trick your mind into feeling like, wow, I'm really feeling deprived. I'm not eating very much food. But if you're eating on a 7 to 9 inch plate, your food is going to fill that plate much more. In those smaller portion sizes, your plate is still going to look full, and that can actually trick our mind into thinking that we're eating plenty of food. Next, make it inconvenient to eat more by chewing gum or brushing your teeth after meals. I have actually done this. So after dinner, I hear this a lot, but snacking in the evening, kind of eating without really thinking about it in the evening or having a lot of cravings, that's a very, very popular thing I hear, and I even have a hard time with it too. So I will brush my teeth. I wear a retainer at night, so I'll put my retainer in too, so that I don't eat anything else. To try to keep that weight management, use some of these barriers to help just manage yourself without even really having to use that using these physical barriers rather than having to always just stay motivated within your own mind. Just brush your teeth and put your retainer on. It becomes a lot less convenient to eat that way. And then I already kind of touched on this, but eat mindfully. So taking small bites, and to make sure that you chew your food, first of all, chew it well. Can you get 20 chews out of a mouthful of food? It's really hard, but it will help you slow down. So chewing well, but also making sure that you finish your mouthful and swallow before going for another bite. Some people, you can even put your utensils down between each bite to help you slow down and to help you savor the foods so you feel more satisfied with your meals. Another tip within this section is to monitor your progress. So check your body weight once a week is good enough. Daily is fine, but it can always be it can sometimes not be helpful to check your weight every day because we do naturally fluctuate from day to day, even within the same day. So once a week, same time of day, same day of the week, same circumstances is generally what I recommend. So if it's a Sunday at 8 a.m., first thing when you wake up after you use the restroom, no clothes on, then stick with that. If you weigh yourself again Wednesday afternoon, of course you are going to weigh completely different day, different time of day, wearing clothes most likely. So pick a time, a day, and do that consistently. And keep a logbook of your weights. That can be very helpful to notice trends, whether it's going up or down, or if you're maintaining the same. Also, keep a daily food journal. I tell this to people all the time to help manage weight, and most people ignore me. Most people do not do this, but those that do have more success. It can make you think more carefully about what you're eating and allow you to monitor your calories, your carbs, protein, and fat as well within the calories sometimes. And it just can help you become more aware of patterns. Maybe you're eating more than you thought. We tend to overestimate how much we exercise and underestimate how much we eat. Let that sink in. So writing it down can really take away that guesswork of what we think we are doing. There are many ways to track calories, including apps like I see Lori just mentioned on here. MyFitnessPal is what Lori recommends, and that's what I recommend as well. It's super useful for keeping a food diary. That app has, I know there are a lot of apps out there for tracking your intake, but that's the one I'm most familiar with and I recommend to patients to use. You can scan the barcodes that are on your foods. You can create recipes within it. So if there's a recipe that you make frequently, you can put all the ingredients in there and set your serving size so that you know how much of your own recipes, the nutrition value for all of those. Some people just like writing it down with an old-fashioned pencil and paper, and that is fine too. Anyway, keeping a food diary is going to be more helpful than not doing it at all. As I said in the beginning of class, weight management really can make a difference with your heart health as well as your overall health. A high percentage of Americans are overweight or obese, and unsurprisingly, heart disease is the #1 cause of death in America. It's never too late to start taking steps towards managing your weight and improving your health, no matter what your age. So I encourage you, if that's something you're struggling with, make a commitment to yourself now. Start working on your weight management. It will only benefit your heart health and your overall health. That's all I've got for you today. Woo! That was a lot of talking. But I hope that you found some good tips, some good information within all of this that we discussed today. I'm so glad that you joined class. Thank you for watching, whether you're live or recorded. Let me know if you have any questions or any feedback. I will see you right back here next month for another weight management class. Let me know if there's any topics that you really have a burning desire for me to discuss. Happy Wednesday, everybody. See you next time.